And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, and you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. That number again is 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, the new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Suzette Mailer with her series, The IFAB Travel Corner. My special guest is Sean Lefebvre, and he's going to be interviewing Angelica Wagner on his series, Geared for Wellness. So stand by for news. But first, I want you to know that at 4:01 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 95 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, and that's down from the high of 96 on its way to 67 degrees. So, that's good stuff, folks. Good, at least it's good weather anyway. But you know what? Let's get right into the news. I promised you that, and that's the least I can deliver, right? So let's do it right now. And in 14 minutes ago, Christie files financial disclosure report. Newly released financial disclosure records show Republican presidential contender Chris Christie earned nearly $277,000 in wages over the last year and a half as New Jersey governor. Christie also reported earning between $15,000 and $50,000 from a blind trust and the same amount in royalties, according to a form filed with the Federal Election Commission just today. Christie's wife has long been the family's higher earning breadwinner. She retired from her high-paying Wall Street job before Christie announced his candidacy. Christie had requested a 45-day extension from the FEC, but he filed well ahead of that deadline in time to qualify for the first Republican primary debate to be held by Fox News Channel this coming Thursday. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush and several other contenders also filed their forms today, yeah. Give me a break, right? Who knows what the heck's going on around here anymore? I have no idea. Well, this came in 38 minutes ago. The debate field is set. Trump, Bush in, and Santorum Fiorina is out. Billionaire businessman Donald Trump has scored the top spot for Thursday night's lead-off debate in the 2016 presidential race, joined by former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, and 7 other Republican contenders who made the campaign's first cut. 7 others will be excluded, including former technology executive Carly Fiorina and former Texas Governor Rick Perry, relegated to a pre-debate forum and second-tier status in the party's crowded field. Fox News announced the 10 GOP White House hopefuls will take part in the primetime debate in the crucial swing state of Ohio. Beyond Trump, those selected among the top 10 based on recent national polls include Bush, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and Ohio Governor John Kasich. Those who didn't make the field for the first debate, including Fiorina, the GOP's only female presidential candidate, Perry, Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum, former New York Governor George Pataki, and former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore. The announcement concludes an anxiety-filled process for the Republican Party that worked aggressively to improve its debates ahead of the election season, yet with the largest field of contenders in modern memory. Organizers say something had to give to ensure the debate in Cleveland didn't turn into a nationally televised circus. We never envisioned we'd have 17 major candidates, said Steve Dupree, New Hampshire's representative to the Republican National Committee who helped craft the debate plan. There's no perfect solution. Republican officials work closely with TV executives, although the networks have the final say about which candidates will be allowed on stage for their televised events. Well, I don't think they got the final say. Who knows, right? Who has the final say? I don't think anybody knows. Well, this came in 1 hour ago. Week-old wildfire wreaks havoc on California vacation spot. A predictable but painful summertime ritual played out in half a dozen resort communities near California's largest freshwater lake on today, as an erratic week-old fire that has wiped out dozens of buildings continued to threaten nearly 7,000 more. As firefighters and equipment from outside the state poured into the battle, the blaze burning 10 miles from Clear Lake, more than 13,000 people were required or urged to leave their homes, vacation cabins, and campsites in the latest fire-prone region to find itself under siege. This never gets easier, said Gina Powers, who, with her husband and cats on Sunday night, fled the Spring Valley home that she has evacuated before the more than 2 decades that she's lived there. This time, it was scarier. State and federal fire officials said the stubborn fire had consumed more than 101 square miles by this morning. After flames jumped a highway in several places, it remained 12% contained and was not expected to be corralled until at least Monday. That's not good news, folks. Not good news at all. If you're inclined to pray, this would be the time to pray for those folks. Well, in 1 hour ago, Obama and Netanyahu make dueling appeals on Iran to U.S. Jews. President Barack Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made dueling appeals to the American Jewish community today as they sought to rally support for their opposing positions on the Iranian nuclear deal. Netanyahu made his case in a live webcast with more than 10,000 participants, according to the U.S. Jewish groups that organized the event. The Prime Minister rallied against the agreement to curb Iran's nuclear program in exchange for billions of dollars in sanctions relief, calling it a bad deal that leaves Tehran on the brink of a bomb. The nuclear deal with Iran doesn't block Iran's path to the bomb, he said. It actually paves Iran's path to the bomb. Netanyahu, one of the fiercest critics of the nuclear accord, also disputed Obama's assertion that opponents of their diplomatic deal favor war. He called that assertion utterly false, saying Israel wants peace, not war. Obama held a private meeting at the White House later today with Jewish leaders, some of who support the deal, some who oppose it, and others who organizations are undecided. The direct appeals from Obama and Netanyahu come amid an intense lobbying campaign on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers plan to vote on the nuclear deal next month. The vote will be one of Congress's most significant national security decisions in recent years. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I want to talk to you about Sandra Bland's family, and they're suing the state trooper, and they want some doggone answers. We'll talk to you about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And when we left, we were talking about the news. Let's get right back into it. And it's Sandra Bland's family sues the state trooper and wants some answers. This came in 2 hours ago. The family of a black woman found dead in a Texas jail 3 days after a confrontation with a white state trooper filed a wrongful death lawsuit today against the officer and other officials, saying it was a last resort after being unable to get enough information about the case. Sandra Bland, a Chicago area woman, died by what authorities say was suicide in her Waller County jail cell on July the 13th. Her family and others previously questioned that and criticized the trooper who stopped her for failing to signal a lane change. The bottom line is she never should have been inside the jail cell, period. Bland's mother, Geneva Reed Vale, said at a news conference, Reed Vale, her Bible Within Reach, said that she was confident Bland knew enough about Jesus that she wouldn't hang herself, and her feelings as a mother say her daughter didn't. But anything is possible, she said. Now, I'm the first one to tell you, if the facts show without a doubt that that was the case, I'll have to be prepared to deal with that, she said. Bland's death came after nearly a year of heightened national scrutiny of police and their dealings with black suspects, especially those who have been killed by officers or die in police custody. The lawsuit with Reed Veal, as plaintiff, seeks unspecified punitive damages for egregious acts and omissions by Trooper Brian Encina, the Texas Department of Public Safety, Waller County, the Sheriff's Office, and 2 jail employees. And it just goes on. Let's hope that it's for punishment and not money. In 1 hour ago, here's the latest. Governors express condolences in a tent collapse. The latest on the New Hampshire circus tent collapse. And let me give you these are going to be local time. So it's like 3 hours later than the Pacific time, and these are going to be Eastern time. So it'll be 5:30 p.m. The governors of 2 states are expressing their condolences to the family of a Vermont father and daughter who died when a circus tent collapsed in a strong storm in New Hampshire. Now, New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan says it's a deeply saddening that a father and daughter lost their lives at what was meant to be a fun family event. Vermont Governor Peter Shumlin, the father of 2 daughters, said he can't imagine the pain and grief that this tragedy has caused the family, friends, and loved ones of these 2 Vermonters. The victims of Monday night's collapse were identified as 41-year-old Robert Young and his 8-year-old daughter, Annabelle of Concord, Vermont. Shumlin says crisis counseling will be provided in Concord, a town of 15 miles west of Lancaster, New Hampshire, where the tent actually collapsed. Well, friends say the slain officer was strong but avoided confrontation. Well, let me tell you about it. Slain police officer Sean Bolton's physical strength and powerful melon-sized hands served him well in tight situations, like when he subdued 2 suspects at one time. Still, friends say he avoided confrontation whenever possible and dedicated his life to protecting others. Bolton, 33, was shot multiple times and killed Saturday night during a struggle with an ex-convict, police said. I said convict. I meant to say ex-convict. Bolton had interrupted a drug deal in a neighborhood in Memphis, a city long listed as one of America's most violent, and was confronted by Tremaine Wilborn, a 29-year-old convicted armed bank robber, police said. After a 2-day manhunt, Wilborn turned himself into authorities to face a first-degree murder charge. He has a court appearance tomorrow. Friends say Bolton overcame a financially troubled childhood during which he sometimes had to bed and sleep on the floor. He attended the University of Memphis and served in the Marines in Iraq. He enjoyed handing out school supplies and candy to children because he knew what it was like to grow up with so little. You know what? God, this is getting... You know what? One of these days, I'm just going to do the news, and it's only going to be good, happy stuff, if I can find any. How about this? Despite rhetoric, border security is less urgent in 2015. In the weeks leading up to Thursday's first debate of the 2016 presidential race, Republican candidates have sought to distinguish themselves from each other. And President Barack Obama, with ever tougher positions on border security and illegal immigration, claiming current measures are failing. And yet, by many standards, the situation is not nearly as urgent as it was during last summer's crisis and has improved steadily and markedly in some respects over the past decade or so, partly because of actions taken by U.S. government, but also because of factors beyond Washington's actual control. Last year's alarming surge of unaccompanied children and families arriving from Central America via Mexico has been cut by about half, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, a drop-off attributed in part to a crackdown by Mexico and better enforcement along the U.S. border. Also, illegal immigration from Mexico has plunged dramatically since 2000, when Border Patrol agents arrested roughly 1.6 million Mexicans. Last year, agents stopped about 230,000. In addition, since 2007, about 1 million Mexicans living illegally in this country have left, according to Mark Rosenboom, Deputy Director of the U.S. Immigration Policy Program at the Migration Policy Institute in Washington. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case up is when salary is deemed to be a dividend, payroll tax is refunded. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? I know that it's going to be your favorite part of the show as well. And in my first case up here is when salary is deemed to be a dividend, payroll tax is refunded. Let me tell you about it. The IRS and tax court held that the salary paid by a corporation to its owner was excessive. Therefore, the company's deduction for it was disallowed. When the IRS submitted its calculation of tax due as a result of the disallowed deduction, the company and its owner protested that it didn't include a refund of the 1.45% Medicare payroll tax that each had to pay on the salary. The IRS said that the tax court does not have jurisdiction over payroll tax disputes, so it cannot order a refund of the taxes. Well, think about that for a minute. They went to tax court, and this is their ruling. Whereas here, in an income tax case, payroll taxes must be recomputed to reach the correct tax result. The court does have jurisdiction. The refund is ordered. That's what you expect. That's what you have to expect, right? Here's another case for you. The IRS loses. Death defeats the levy on a lawyer's bank account. You know what? Death and taxes, right? Here's the deal. An attorney died while still owing back taxes. Now, a state court then ordered that his business bank account be distributed to clients for whom he had held funds and to trustees named to terminate the affairs of his law practice to cover their necessary costs and fees. But before the bank made the distribution, the IRS issued a levy on the account. Aha, guess what, right? So they went to court. Here's what the judge said. After the state court's order, the deceased lawyer had no interest in the bank account and its funds, which now belonged to his clients, the creditors, and the trustees as fees. Therefore, there was nothing for the IRS to levy their attach their levy to. So give that some thought. Here's one that's really interesting. The IRS lost this. A bar's licensed owner should not be treated as the owner. I know, that sounds kind of weird, right? But listen to this. Charles Manny wanted to purchase a bar, but a felony conviction kept him from obtaining a liquor license. So he reached a deal with his friend Ray Monk, who bought the bar, obtained its license, and opened business accounts for it in his own name. Now, Manny then ran the bar as Chuck's Place, and Monk moved 200 miles away. Manny paid $2,500 a month to Monk that Monk treated as rent. So here's the snag. The IRS audited Monk, said he was the bar's legal owner, and taxed its income to him. He went to court. Can you guess? Here's what the judge said. The monthly $2,500 payment did not vary, indicating it was rent, not profit sharing. In all other ways, Manny and Monk acted as tenant and landlord. So the bar's income was not taxed to Monk. Just, you know what? It is just common sense. That's all it is, just common sense. Okay, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. Well, that's what we're talking about right now when we talk about this segment, inside the IRS. Now, these aren't court cases. These are decisions that the IRS has made that have actually been published, and if you use them correctly, it can help you when you're trying to argue a position with the IRS. Now, here's the first thing. Do not be seduced by the IRS's last chance amnesty offer on offshore bank account actions. Here's the thing. The IRS is promoting a settlement program for individuals who maintain offshore bank accounts that they have not reported on their tax returns. Now, if you respond positively within 15 days of its offer, you must give the IRS access to every piece of information that it's seeking. Now, in return, they'll not prosecute you for a tax crime. But you've got to be careful here, guys, because, boy, I got everything is going off here. I don't know what all these bells and whistles are doing. In any event, you got to be careful. The revenue agent may only know that you maintain an offshore bank account. Now, he or she may not know when the money was actually deposited into the account or the source of that money. So here's a strategy for you. Do not respond to any questions until you've met with a knowledgeable tax attorney. Not tax preparer, but tax attorney. And you know what? You'll be surprised. You come out pretty good. How about this? What special agents want to know when they contact your tax preparer? You know, one of the most important witnesses in a criminal case against you is the person who actually prepared your tax return. The preparer generally has his or her in her possession, work papers, files that contain originals of copies of financial documents and handwritten notes. Now, the special agents are going to summons these to obtain evidence of criminal conduct, looking for proof of intent to evade the payment of tax by underreporting income or hiding assets. So, advice for the tax preparers? Before agreeing to talk to a special agent, ask for a summons for the requested information. If the IRS issues a summons, review it with your attorney before making any statements to the IRS. You want to be sure that you have not been complicit in your client's wrongdoing. Keep that in mind. It's always, always, always in your best interest to use a licensed professional, in this case, a tax attorney. They are going to save you frustration. They're going to give you peace of mind and maybe keep you from spending weekends away from home. That's an important thing. Now, do not go away, because right after these special moments that we're going to have with you, we're going to be talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner, and his special guest is Angelica Wagner. Angelica is just a really, really special person. She's a coach, a mentor, a healer, an entrepreneur, a passionate advocate of social issues, spirituality, and children's causes, and alternative health care, right in Sean's bag of tricks. So we'll be talking to Angelica right after these brief moments with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 95 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 98 on his way to 67. I can't wait for the 67. But something else I can't wait for is the man who's waiting in the wings. I just am just crazy about this guy. One of the most knowledgeable alternative medicine guys that you've ever talked to, listened to, or met in your entire life. And more important than that, he's my friend. So you know what? Let's not waste any more time. Let's just get him right on in here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. You know what? I am so excited because you've got a special guest, and I could say all these things about her. I said it earlier that she's a coach, a mentor, a healer, an entrepreneur, a passionate advocate of social issues and spirituality, children's causes, which is deep into my heart, and alternative healthcare, which I know is deep in your bag of tricks. But even more important than all of that, she is my friend. So you know what, my buddy? You've got the microphone. Let's get things rolling here.
Well, Robert, first of all, it's awesome. You know, I always, every time I come on the show, I just get, like, even if I'm having a day that just maybe it stresses me out, as soon as we get on the air, I'm just all smiles. I love doing this. So thanks for having me on again today. Every day that I'm on, I'm really thankful for that. But it is really cool having Angelica on today. And I don't want to get into a long, I certainly could probably spend the first whole segment just doing an introduction on everything that she's done, all the amazing things that she has been doing and will continue to do. But that you talked about her fighting for children's causes, and that's a huge one for me too, because I think that getting our children healthy is what's going to keep us healthy in the future. It's got to start with our children, because our children are getting sicker and sicker all the time, and it doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be that way. But Angelica Wagner is with us, and she is an amazing healer. You know what I really, really like about Angelica is
everything.
Everything, exactly. Besides everything, I also like that she proves that you don't have to go to school for 20 years. You don't have to do. She shows the power of someone
easy with the school stuff, will you?
Yeah.
I don't want to think I wasted half my life. Well, actually, exactly. I'm old. Yeah, I haven't wasted half my life.
You've got a PhD, and we don't even refer. I should start calling you Dr. Robert, because you've got a PhD. But
that stands for piled high and deep.
Pile higher and deeper. That's right. I got the BS. All I got is the BS. That's it. I got nothing else. But she proves that the average person on fire with a mission can go out and do amazing things and change people's lives and go out and create this positive force for change. And you don't have to have a PhD or a doctorate or a master's degree or whatever. You can just be a great person who's on purpose. And so she does, she's a teacher. She works at the Grace Center for Healing. She's taken her passion for teaching and moved it into teaching in the healthcare industry, but she's doing some really cool stuff with quantum energy. And so we kind of want to talk about that. So first of all, Angelica, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Maybe you could start out.
You. I so love being on Robert's show every time, and it just makes my day just to be on his broadcast and being able to broadcast the news of hope with the discoveries that I've made. So I just am so appreciative to both of you for having me on and being able to share the new technologies, the new brain technologies, and exactly what is happening.
So tell us about that. Tell us, because most people, you hear the word quantum energy, healing modalities, and they're going, huh, what? So tell us what that is. How did you get into it? How long have you been doing it? Exactly how do you use that for people with brain injuries and addiction and so on? And we'll just kind of let that flow. And Robert and I, I'm sure, will ask questions.
Robert, or jump in anytime. 6 years ago, I had my own traumatic brain injury, which, and I knew my retina was very close to detaching. I could feel it detaching, and I just wanted to have this thing fixed. And at the same time, one of my children, all my children are grown up, but one of my children was studying this thing called Body Talk. And I called her up and I said, so what's this thing you do about Body Talk? Oh, Mom, she said, just go on the website. Well, I didn't just go on the website. I had an eye that, I had a retina that was detaching. It was a little bit more serious. And so I took training with Body Talk for 6 months and got certified. And in those 6 months, I saw over 200 cases of various and sundry things. But the thing that really resonated with me was that mothers were bringing their children to me. And in the early 70s, I was a primary school teacher. And in those days, we didn't have big budgets for classrooms, so the average, just out of the box educator had 36 kids in a class. And I was being asked in the 70s to put 18 of those kids that were special needs kids on Ritalin. And I was on a soapbox then in the 70s objecting to that and refused to have that and refused to give medications to those children. Well, 3 years ago when I really seriously started studying addiction, I learned that cocaine is just one molecule different than Ritalin. That the drug called Adderall is one molecule different than the synthetic drug called bath salts, which totally destroys a young person's brain. So, it has not been, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck and decide to study addiction and behavioral health and traumatic brain injury. It was really my practice where mothers were bringing me 6 years ago after I healed my own eyes, which was the only, the thing that was most important at the time. And mothers were bringing me their children, and these were adorable little kids, 5, 6 years old, and this little kid wanted to hurt someone in the family. And I went, why would you want to do that? And in school, he'd growl at kids. And I go, why would you want to do that? Like, that makes no sense to me. Kids don't come out of the chute, out of their mother's womb like that. They come out loving and adoring and beautiful beings. Anyway, so in a very short time, we found out that they were patients of a very prominent brain specialist here in Orange County, and that person had put these children on 5 and 6 different medications, all psychotropic drugs. And I did some reflexology and did some protocols, and we started working on the brain and working on what amounts of medications that should be using, whatever. Anyway, after the first session, that child, that little guy, slept through the night. And I remember distinctly his mother standing at the other end of the therapy table, because I do hands-on work on the brain, and she was in tears. She was just crying for 25 minutes, and I finally said to her, Sally, what are you doing? What's going on with you that you're just in tears? And she said, Angelica, you don't understand. You do not understand. My child hasn't slept since he was born. And the next morning I got this call from the dad, 7 o'clock in the morning. What did you do to my kid? And I'm going, I just followed protocols, and I just was very easy about the conversation. And because all of our protocols are non-invasive, so no harm can be done. And he said, I told my wife to pay you whatever you wanted. I'm a judge. That's the first time in 5 years I've slept through the night. So thank you for helping my child. And that was kind of how it started, And then, a little bit later down those were cases that puzzled me. There were other cases that just fascinated me. I had one woman brought her husband in, and she said to me, if you don't fix him, I'm putting him into a mental institution. And I said, why would you do that? And she said, he's a high...
Most women want to do that to their husbands anyway, don't they?
Well, no,
I thought that was normal.
Yeah, she said he's a hypochondriac. He has, this wrong with him, that wrong with him, that wrong with him. And I started to really get serious about studying the brain. And so although I do not have a medical PhD, I can assure you I am extremely highly studied and highly educated as far as the brain is concerned and what the brain does. And it was my discovery very early in my first year or second year of doing alternative healing that there were these things called cranial nerves, and these cranial nerves ran on the inside of the brainstem, and they run right from the base of the neck all the way up into the brainstem and all the way down into your lungs and esophagus and even digestive system. And so I figured out a way to heal those cranial nerves non-invasively. And at the time, I was studying at the California Institute of Human Science, and I had these amazing professors who would say to me, Angelica, you know so much about energy, and I learned, 8 more protocols. So all together, I have a bag of about 10 different non-invasive protocols where we can break down just about anything that's going on in that body. And I sent my course, because I didn't know what to do, I sent my course to the guy who invented Body Talk, and he said, oh, no, Angelica, there's only 175 paramas, which is my designation in Body Talk. There's only 175 of you in the world that knows what you know on the brain, and, that's not a big enough target market to teach what you want to teach. And besides, you're not a neuroscientist, so no, we're not interested in working with you. And but at the same time, I sent that very same course on the cranial nerves off to another man that I had studied with 25 years before. And understand, I hadn't spoken to him in 20 years, over 20 years. And he called me up out of the blue from Japan where he was teaching, and he said, Angelica, you're on to something here, but you won't know what you're on to until you come and study with us for a year. And I'm thinking, why would I do that? So I did, because, I trusted him and believed him. And so I went to study with the man who had, when I met him 25 years before, he and his partner were the actual original original scientists who had cracked the original codes on the genetic codes of addiction in the body. And it was discovered at that time, 25 years ago in the early 90s, that 33% of the people in most populations, some third world countries a little bit more, have the genetic codes and genetic bases for addiction. And so the more I studied with the American College of Addiction and Compulsive Disorder, the more I started to see that Dr. Holder, who holds the Albert Schweitzer Award in Medicine, was absolutely right, that I was onto something.
And with that, Angelica, I'm going to stop you. We've got to leave something for the next segment. We'll be right back with Sean Lefebvre and Angelica Wagner right after these brief commercial messages so that I can pay my bills. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know, we're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner and his special guest, Angelica Wagner. Now, I want you to know, she told you just before we went for a commercial break that she had a new and unique and controversial idea, and all the peers that were out there said, you know what, you're nuts. Come on, I know. But you know what? Now you're going to hear all about what she's actually doing and what the treatment is. And now she's going to tell you how it benefits people. That's what's going to happen right now. Sean, get her into it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ticket, as they say. So, Angelica, thanks for the background on it, because I love the storyline of how you get to where you are, because that's, I think, a big part of the driving force behind it. But kind of really, if you would, get into, what exactly is this therapy? Tell us what, how does it affect these cranial nerves? How does it repair brain damage? How does it fix, addiction? Addiction.
Well, I had to have like more than one person, right? And I wasn't just going to ask. Robert can do his at the corner of this intersection and that intersection street thing, but I actually went to the sheriff's department in LA and asked if I could do a private clinical trial, which I paid for myself. And these were 95 incarcerated people, and there was almost zero discussion. So they didn't come to me for talk therapy. They came to me to just see what I could do, and gave permission for me to work on their body and their brain and see what would happen. And I used the knowledge that I had with Dr. Holder, and I had a small Hertz frequency device, and I used this device in specific points on the ear because it's not invasive, and that little machine is Dr. William Tiller discovered the Tiller-Einstein equation, and I believed him. I believed that if there is a negative Hertz frequency inside the brain or inside the body, which is caused by the upset of the body.
Okay, let me stop you for a second, Angelica, because I'm a guy that just doesn't know much about this kind of stuff. I'd kind of like to know why you use this modality on the ear as opposed to an eyelid or the nose or the back of the head.
Oh, well, because of auricular therapy has been in the public domain for over 50 years, and acupuncturists have used it's called auricular therapy. So there are pressure points on the ear. We don't ever use needles or anything that invades, but if you shine this little current on specific points on the ears, then there are formed, which was my discovery, there are formed in the brain neuron transmitter connections.
So it's a direct highway right to the brain.
Highway straight to the brain. You got it exactly right. And straight through.
Angelica, is this a sound wave you're talking about, or is this just like an energy, like a pulsating energy wave? Or
it's like it would be like a very miniature TENS machine. So it's actually an electronic wave, and you can send it by using. So because I had discovered the cranial nerves and how to heal the cranial nerves with a first modality, I added to that modality. I added using this little Hertz frequency device on a specific brain axis. And that really is the innovation, and that really is the scientific breakthrough here. Was before, although Dr. Holder was my mentor and he discovered the autonomic and the limbic axis, he never discovered the end to addiction. And when I started and it happened because I was upside down one day in doing yoga, and I thought to myself, well, if the brain is just like a computer, and you ping something from one part of the computer, it pings to another part of the computer, and that pings to another part of the computer, it has to be a closed circuit. So why aren't these people with these addictions stopping their addiction? Well, maybe it's because there wasn't a closed circuit. So of the 95 people that I had in that group, 35 of them stayed with me for 90 days. And of those 35, 33 completed all the modules of the program, and not one of them has relapsed from drug or alcohol abuse for 18 months.
And now, Angelica, as a result of this, you are about to be honored because of all of this research and development that you've done. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that kind of, showed up 2 weeks ago, and it was really a very big surprise. Someone, I don't know who this kind person was, but honored me with a nomination to the World Summit of Integrated Medicine, and I have been honored and nominated as Health Innovator of the Year.
Wow!
By the World Summit of Integrative Medicine.
Amazing.
And so this is, global. And all of my, heroes are all going to be there. And it's just really quite shocking that because I'm neither an MD or an MD PhD, that I was given the gift of this amazing breakthrough. So right now we're in discussion with the Navy. We actually have a mentor straight from Washington. As difficult as it's been to convince Washington that we have answers for veterans' PTSD, and Sean and I had off the air had more than one conversation in that, we lose about 25 veterans a month out of Camp Pendleton in Orange County, and we lose about 75 off the street in LA, and they don't die because of drug overdose. They actually die of suicide and committing suicide. So getting through to the VA has been a difficult 6-month task. So that's why this nomination by the World Summit of Integrated Medicine, and it's called Imagine an End to Addiction, and I did a 5-minute video there outlining how I came to this brain access and how it works every single time, and how we are the only Grace Center for Healing. I own Grace Center for Healing. I'm the founder.
Angelica, you're actually being recognized now for a modality that has been questionable in the scientific community, that is now giving more acceptance to the modality that you're using to heal the brain. Is that correct?
It's correct, because there are actually 3 non-invasive modalities that I use. We have people who have been heroin addicts for 40 years who are back reintegrated in society, doing jobs. One of the young veterans, 25 years old, 8-year meth addict, is now studying to be an astrophysicist. We don't just heal the addiction, we transform the life. Because here's the thing, Robert, when you rewire the brain, that brain can't go back to the addiction. It doesn't want it anymore. It's like, what do you mean that stuff? I don't do that stuff. Like, what's that?
So when you talk about rewiring the brain when you're doing this work, I know that we had used the word just a little while ago. We talked about repairing brain damage. Now, is this when most people think of brain damage, I think they got in a car accident or you slip and fall and hit your head.
Yep.
Is it actual true damage to the brain that's being repaired? Now, are we taking the brain and going, okay, we're going to circumvent that damaged area and rewire you, kind of create a circuit that goes around the damage? And
there's some that goes. One of the modalities goes around the damage so that the circuits can get together. And I have several people that have come to me from car accidents and have heard about my work, and they're completely restored. Their brain is completely restored.
So let me see if I can't work around this a little bit, make it a little simpler. Let's assume that someone got into an accident. They hit their head hard. They destroyed the front left lobe of their brain, which deals with their ability to communicate and speak. And over time, if they were to come and see you, you just sort of not cure that, but rewire it so another part of the brain actually takes over that function. Am I getting close?
We actually restore the connectivity so that the brain regrows its own cells. And the prefrontal lobe, which is linked to the liver, and that prefrontal lobe is in decision making and time processing and planning and all of those things that prefrontal lobe has to do. The brain, like the body, regrows its own cells, every 90 days. So should someone have a very serious car accident, over a period of not more than 3 months, max 4 months, they are completely restored.
Wow.
And you see, because at the Grace Center for Healing, we do not believe in relapse model, so that when people go to sober living houses and passages and all of those places where you have to sign up for a year, that's not our model. There's 110 million people that need our services.
Okay, so let me stop you. Just take a breath here for a second. So if the brain reconstitutes itself the way that you're saying, then why doesn't it do that on its own, or does it just reconstitute itself and stay empty and it needs you to kickstart it? Why does it need that third-party interference for it to function if it's reconstituting itself?
Because it needs that little hertz frequency to make the pings, to make that part connects to that part, that connects to that part. Now I'll do what you want.
Gotcha.
So it's not one process. It's the little device stimulates the brain in it's like shooting a laser into the brain and saying, giddy up, get busy, clean up your act, go get working, get more cells. And then the brain does it. If it's just going to sit there, it's going to sit there scrambled. And if a person had a car accident where that car spun around and around and around, they have complete sensory imbalance.
So to try and draw an analogy to this, so it's sort of like the guy that's on the operating table and his heart goes into fibrillation, and they go ahead and they shock his heart back into a normal rhythm. What you're doing is you're shocking the brain back into a normal connectivity, right?
Yeah, but it's not, violent like that. It's just kind of ping, like when you get a text and your cell phone goes ping, ping, ping. That's what it does, and there's no pain to it. There's just sometimes people when I get at a specific point, like the master sensorial point, when people have been spun around and around, and I've had people who never tell me their history, and they have a session with me, and I'll get my device out after doing things first, and I'll say, were you in a serious car accident? Like, were you? Yeah, I was flipped over. How'd you know that? And when you really know and understand the points on the ears, then, and just by just touching that with that electronic device, it just sends a healing signal to exactly the part of the brain that is diseased. And it matches exactly the hertz frequency of the disease with what you got in the instrument.
Okay,
so
you got 20 seconds to tell people how to get a hold of you.
They can get a hold of me at my office at 949-754-3144. Please, 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 please go to worldintegrativemedicine.com and vote for me as Health Integrator of the Year, Health Innovator of the Year. I would so love it.
Well, this has been terrific. Sean, any last words?
No, man, this has been very informative. Thank you, Angelica, for coming out, and thanks, Robert, for another fun day.
Okay, this has been terrific. We've been with our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner, his special guest, Angelica Wagner. Don't forget to vote for Angelica. And don't go away, because when we come back, we'll be with our own Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner. We're going back to Singapore. You want to hear all about it. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:07 p.m. Pacific time, currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 98 degrees on its way to 67. I can't wait for the 67. But you know what? Here's the deal, folks. Make sure that your seat back is upright and that you're locked in. Make sure that you're strapped into that seat because we're about to take off for a journey with our own Suzette Mailer in her IFAB Travel Corner. We're going back to Singapore and all parts east. And here's our own Suzette Mailer. Hey, Suzette, welcome aboard, honey. Good to have you here. And it looks like we're going back to the Far East, huh?
Right, but we're going to stay in Shanghai.
Well, Shanghai. You know what? You said Shanghai, and I said Singapore. You know what? Shame on me. My bad.
Yep, you wanted to stay in Shanghai, and there is a lot to say about China, and so I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Especially since I prepped to talk about it, and you Shanghai'd me last week. So.
Okay.
Got under my skin.
Well, you know what? That's my only desire.
Well, you stay out of there. So, how have you been?
I'm terrific. I'm doing good. I'm having a great week. Of course, this is only Tuesday, but I'm having a great week, so that's a super thing.
Good. Glad to hear it. When's your app going to be out?
You know what? I think it'll be delivered for distribution in about 2 weeks.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be super. It actually is it's one app, but there's two different formats. One is going to be for Android, which is all the smartphone things, and the other will be for the iOS system, which is iPhone. So it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be terrific. People are actually going to be able to listen to the show live either on their desktop or on their phone, or if they're connected to a computer on their television. And
you have the convenience of just clicking on the app and your program turns on.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy that with Immaculate Heart Radio.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to them and I just carry it around with my cell phone. You know, everybody thinks that the internet radio it's not real. You know, it's just but it is very real and prevalent in the market, and becoming more so than AM and FM.
Oh yeah, and you know all the big guys that you used to see on the national networks are all going to the internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, because 95% of the population have some kind of a cell phone. Only 55 to 60% have actually moved over to a smartphone.
Oh yeah, but you know what?
Those are high-functioning cell phones, and they're capable of downloading apps. And
yeah, but not only that, but now you have Bluetooth in your car, so your cell phone can talk to your car, so you can listen to it that way. And all the new cars are equipped with computers and internet, and so even the radio will be internet controlled. It's going to be fantastic. These new apps are actually going to allow you to chat directly with us during the show and listen to the show live or listen to the iCars.
Oh, really?
It's going to be fantastic.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So let's talk about Shanghai.
Shanghai.
I always,
okay.
You know what?
Well,
the first time I met you, I wanted to Shanghai you.
Oh, and I certainly was. So I don't know. I've been with you. This November will be 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
You know what? It's just, when you get as old as I am, the days fly by. 2 years, it just seems unreasonable, unbelievable.
I've never dropped the ball. I went on vacation last year. I'm going on vacation next week, so I won't be here next week. And I was out sick only once in all that time.
You are, if nothing else, trustworthy and accountable.
That's right. That's right. So, anyway, Shanghai. I guess I heard you've never been to Shanghai.
I have not.
So I've got you there. But did you know that in the 1920s and the 1930s, Shanghai was dubbed the Paris of the East? So we'll get into that. And Shanghai is also the largest city in China, the most cosmopolitan. It offers visitors.
Did you say that Shanghai was the largest city in China?
Pardon me?
Did you say that Shanghai was the largest city in China?
It is.
You know, I always thought Beijing
and
was.
Growing. And there's a reason for that. And we'll get into that. We'll touch on Christianity in China, but specifically Shanghai. And I want to just lend a little insight into working inside the Chinese factories, because I used to work with the managers in the factories. But, it's really interesting. You can't help but be a spectator, participant, and tourist all rolled in one in my shoes. And if we have time, I'd like to teach some Chinese, since we have so many Chinese buying property and moving out here. Might as well learn how to say hello and how are you. So, you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody was texting me and I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
So, shall I? To best understand Shanghai is to understand it's split into two sections, and
Shang and Hai.
No,
sort of like Buddha
River.
and Pest.
I didn't say two syllables, my friend. I said Huangpu River, and so on one section you have the new Pudong district, and it's filled with skyscrapers. And then across the river, you have the Paxi district with its historical buildings. And so someone described the new Pudong district as, let's see, Pudong skyline looks like it was ripped from the Jetsons because of the bulbous Oriental Pearl TV and the radio tower and the skyscrapers. Yeah, that Oriental Pearl TV, I'll describe that later. That's fascinating. And then on the Puxi side, you'll find historical buildings, and the
So it's like new development
French
in
and
Old
British
Town, right?
concessions are there. European concessions.
So one side is like the New Town, and the other side is like Old Town.
That's right, and divided by the river.
Hmm.
So I hope that paints a visual that we can all understand. Now, on the old side, you have something called the Shanghai Bund, and it's a riverfront street, and it's lined with dozens of historical buildings in the Beaux-Arts style. And it once housed numerous banks and trading houses from the United Kingdom, France, United States, Italy, Russia, Germany, Japan, Netherlands, Belgium, the consulates of Russia and Britain, a newspaper, the Shanghai Club. Boy, I'd like to have seen. I wonder if that still exists, and the Masonic Club. So, and they're combined. The combined British and American settlements were called the International Settlement. So that was built in the 20th century, and it was a major financial center for East Asia. And so in the Puxi, Puxsi, P as in Paul, Uxsi, Puxi, it sounds like Puck and then See. You'll find the French Bund, which is a part of the Shanghai French Concession. And the French Concession is really interesting. To visit Shanghai is almost like visiting France or a piece of Europe. And it's really quite surprising to find that there. The French Concession was a territory within Shanghai ceded to France during the colonial era, between the 1850s and the Second World War. And so it's a European-esque low-rise area of super elegant colonial-era houses and mansions, and on narrow tree-lined streets, and it truly transports you to Europe. You do wonder how. I was wondering how this could exist, surrounded by what we imagine China to be, and yet it does. So Shanghai, in the day, attracted adventurers, expats, tycoons, and racketeers. It became the hotbed of revolutionary plotting and politics. And today, the communist red flag flies adjacent to luxury retail and contains much of Shanghai's prime real estate. That's very expensive, and that's why the Chinese are, not only did they get wealthy from, the Western world having goods manufactured in China, but it drove their prices up, and they're coming here to buy property.
So is the main domestic product of China then, or Shanghai, labor?
Gee, I think resources. Definitely, they are rich in resources and labor. Yeah. So.
And I suppose it's always been that way, right?
They have a lot of people. I worked with a print factory, a very large print factory, 2,000 people, and I was going through some old pictures of the factory, and they had hundreds of women, no children. There was no child labor, but hundreds of women lining boxes for Prada and Macy's and Valentine boxes, elaborate Valentine boxes. So they would take gray cardboard, and then they would take a pretty piece of paper, red paper that was die cut in a heart shape, and then some glue, and then they would shape it around the box. Can you imagine each box individually wrapped by these women? You would think it would be a machine. So yes, labor must be fairly inexpensive.
You there?
So anyway, I'm going to post some pictures on my Facebook page of China and the factories and some video, and you want to go check out my Facebook page. If you go to my website, it'll direct you there. That's www.ifabtravel.com. ifabtravel.com.
Well, are they already on there?
Not yet. Only one, but I will get the rest posted on there. I have all kinds of pictures on there. Do you really want to see them?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those too. Well, we're talking to our own Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner. We're going to be right back with more information about Shanghai and China. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And right now, we're talking to our own Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner, and we're in Shanghai, China. Suzette, you got the microphone.
Thank you. So, Shanghai, it really is beautiful, and the people are very nice, and you have hustle and bustle. You have designer retail, old, beautiful buildings, Chinese buildings. I will post a picture of a skyscraper, modern skyscraper, but on top of it is a structure. It must be a penthouse for whoever owns it. That is, has the architecture of imperial China on top of it. So you have, the rooftop that where the sides slope upward, and that's very Chinese. I've never seen anything like it. It's just such a beautiful town. But getting back to the French concession, they have tree-lined streets on either side of the avenues there, and the trees, interestingly, are imported from France. And I really think that here in the States we could take a lesson from the way the streets are laid out in Shanghai. Those trees are topped off at about 20 feet. So here in America, we just let our trees continue to grow up to the sky, but they top it off so that it canopies. And so when it canopies, it covers the sidewalk, the bike lane, and the cars. And you know, in the summertime,
like a natural tunnel.
Yeah, it creates a canopy, it's shade, and it's such relief because the sun is piercingly hot, and then you know, it rains there quite a bit, so you have wonderful clouds, and when the clouds block the sun, that's a relief, and then you have the trees that
so it's hot
create
and
a
humid,
dappled
right?
light everywhere. It's lovely.
Yeah, so it's hot and humid, right?
Yes. Yeah, from May on, it can be, and it can be very cold too. You know, in the winter and fall. You know, I've been there at pretty much at every season. So,
now you
I like the
sound
dedicated
like
bike
you
lane.
are absolutely in love with Shanghai. Can you give me? I mean, I can just picture you walking down one of those sidewalks with the canopied trees and just looking at all these magnificent the architecture and all those things. Did you have any difficulty when it came to shopping for clothes or for food or any of those kind? You were actually living there or just visiting?
No. And electronics, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's really fun there because, well, you know, I was by myself, and my nightlife was going into massage parlors.
Oh,
and
yeah?
they were, you know, that's something you do. You go maybe to dinner, and then you go get a massage, and it's all on the up and up. I don't think there's a Chinese person who cannot give an excellent massage.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ticklish? And you know, so that's something to do. And actually, I went into a very Zen-like place, and it was dark, and you speak in whispers, and they had this wall of stone with water trickling down, and it was serene and lovely, and so, you know, you have these little Chinese ladies that massage your feet, and you can just go in for a foot massage.
So now you
and
were
then go
by
out for dinner.
You were by yourself. I mean, you were working, but you were by yourself. Did that create any kind of obstacle or problem for you in Shanghai because you were a young lady and you were by yourself unaccompanied?
No, never. I never ever had a problem.
Was language a difficult obstacle for you to
language,
overcome?
no, because in Shanghai, many people speak English. So, no, not a problem. And again, I mentioned this last week, but as you're walking the streets and maybe trying to find your restaurant, and many times they have the menu posted in the window, it looks like they consulted with Merck's manual to translate into English. So here is one item on a menu. It might read something like gallbladder with bile sauce. You know, it was hilarious. And, you know, when I was there in 1985, I learned that China had a saying, and that's nothing, if it's edible, nothing goes wasted. You know, because they were on the brink of starvation, if not starving, and so they eat everything, and I will add that you don't get much meat in the food. There's not a lot of meat, and if there is meat, I'm not sure what it is. But you know, I dined at high-end restaurants with the factory managers and my business partner Yong Kai Wu, and then you know I just ate at the little the dives along the street, and so I was fine with that. It was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah, I'll bet. Did you make? How long were you there?
Well, you know, I would travel there twice a year between 2005 and 2009. I was there in 1985 just as a tourist, and then I would go back on business. And so I would be there for 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
So did you make lots of friends?
Myself.
Was it easy to make friends with the Chinese people?
Oh, they're so friendly, very nice. Oh, I always made friends with the factory managers. You know, I'd maybe go out with them sometimes, or they'd take me to dinner, and or I was with them all day, so they dropped me off at the hotel, and I was on my own. So I was homesick, very homesick. Mm-hmm. So do you know, Shanghai is known to have the best public infrastructure in China, surpassing even the capital, Beijing. Streets, sewers, water were laid out by the British and the French during the colonial era. So that's why it looks so European, and everything works.
Wow.
Except, again, in 1985, there were more bikes than cars. Today, there are more cars than bikes.
So let me ask you this, Suzette. Have you been to Beijing or other parts of China?
I haven't been to Beijing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've been to the airport.
Yeah, because what I was going to ask you was, is there a big difference between the utility of Shanghai and other Chinese cities?
Yeah, I understand that there is a big difference because, a couple of the factory managers were fluent in English. In fact, one went to college in New York, and then he went back to China. And so he was a real treat for me. And when he flies into Los Angeles, John, he'll give me a call. And so I haven't seen him in a while, but we usually stay in touch. But I learned a lot. I learned that for one owner, actually a factory owner, his father was a professor, and he studied the Jewish diaspora and the Jews that came to China. Isn't that fascinating?
Wow. And
he also shared that, just little factoids, that refrigerators were only introduced 60 years ago, and televisions. And so, it's, they're really catching up to the rest of the world.
So
but then again, as I mentioned in the last episode, they don't have a old infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Everything's relatively new.
So if they didn't have refrigerators 60 years ago, they obviously had a tough time preserving their food, right?
Well, I think that was during the cultural revolution, and I read a book and learned, and I can only speak of Beijing in this, but the people were hungry, and the government would fill containers with heads of cabbage, and then they would drop these containers off in the city, different points, and people would line up to get their cabbage. And so, I guess they would live off cabbage, and I guess you had farms.
So was China? I know it's
nearby.
I know it's communist China, but was it socialistic in that they would share? The farmers would share their food, or were these people actually there? They have to barter or trade something for it.
I don't really know. I just know that it was a hard time for China, and especially in Beijing, in the city, people were going hungry. They were just living off cabbage, and that the government provided. And beyond that, I don't know. I can't remember the rest about that. But, China only opened up in 1985. So what is that, 20 years ago? How many years ago is that?
Oh, no, 30 years ago.
30 years ago. It's not very long. And that's when reforms started happening, and Western products and services and ideals started entering China, and it's really the coastal cities in Beijing that are adopting it. It's still pretty backwards in the interior of China.
So I don't want to get
agrarian.
Yeah. So I don't want to get political, but is this progress as a result of the fact that Richard Nixon opened up trade with China and diplomatic relations?
I would say very much so. Yeah. I would say so.
Now, it's been a while since you've been back to China or to Asia. Is it something you have a burning yearning to do?
Well, I don't. I've been there so many times. Mm-hmm. I don't have that. But I think people should experience it. When I was there, China in 2009, they were growing so fast that new buildings were going up in the outskirts of Shanghai, and you can see construction material everywhere. You have the new buildings, unfinished walls, no lamp coverings when you would drive by and peer in. The buildings they looked like little mansions, and maybe 3 generations of family would live in it, and usually they were farmers because they're displaced farmers, and so they lost their land. The government would give them this house or give them a condo, but unfinished inside, and cement laying everywhere, and cement powder and wood, and so I saw a different side of China, and usually the tourists just see the good part.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course.
And everything has a reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and you know what? It had to be absolutely fascinating for you to have come from the United States and then gone to Shanghai and witnessed this different lifestyle that is there. It had to be, what an education that had to be for you.
It really was. It was. The food is divine in China. I don't know how they put those flavors together or where they get them. It's so exotic and intriguing. I once I was taken to a famous crab farm. I cannot recall the name of it, but these crabs are poor little paws are tied up, well, the American view, mm-hmm. and they're shipped all over the world. And what they, the river is really quite polluted, but they would scrape little tiny barnacles. We wouldn't eat it. We would never do that here, mm-hmm. but they do there. And then the spices that they put into them. I found I had a second helping, a third helping. It was so delicious. I didn't care that I was going to be maybe glowing from chemicals. It was so delicious.
Well, talk about your website, because we've got about 30 seconds here before we have to move along.
Oh, okay. Well, iFab, as in fabulous travel.com, will direct you to my Facebook page, and hopefully you are a Facebook member, and you can look at pictures and read more about China, and we will upload this segment onto the Facebook page so you can listen to it.
Yeah,
there's a lot more to say about China, and by the way, we're going on vacation. We're going to Mammoth, and I'll report on Mammoth on the next show.
Well, that sounds great. And you have a wonderful vacation. You and the family stay safe. Have an absolute ball. You've worked for it. You've earned it. You deserve it. Don't let anybody deprive you of it.
Thank you.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Take care. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the birthdays for today, the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. We've got it all. Don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:40 p.m. Pacific time, currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 98 on its way to 66, it says now. But you know what? You know what today is? Of course you do. It's somebody's birthday. Well, there's a guy that was born in 1955. He was a U.S. Attorney General and the first Hispanic to serve in that position. He was appointed by President George W. Bush. It's happy birthday to Alberto Gonzalez. And here's a guy we all know, or most of us do. He was born in 1955, an actor who rose to fame after writing, directing, and starring in the film Sling Blade. It's happy birthday, Billy Bob Thornton. And here's a guy that I know you all know. You may not all like him, but you all know him. He was born in 1961. And you know what? He's the 44th president and the first African-American to hold the office and junior U.S. senator until he resigned after his election to the presidency. Happy birthday to President Barack Obama. And today in history, well, I'll tell you what. In 1969, the Vietnam War at the apartment of French intermediary Jean Santini in Paris, U.S. Representative Henry Kissinger and North Vietnamese Representative Xuan Thi begin secret peace negotiations. The negotiations will eventually fail. Yeah, well, in 1977, U.S. President Jimmy Carter signs legislation creating the United States Department of Energy. Boy, do we need them now. And you know what? Our quote for today comes from a gentleman most of us know anyway, George Orwell. And he says, "To see what's in front of one's nose requires a constant struggle." Boy, is that a fact or not? Absolutely it is. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. You know, this is all about a positive mental attitude. I'm telling you, folks, if you can develop a positive mental attitude, one of good, then you can have everything you ever dreamed of in your life. It'll just happen. And everybody's life who you touch will be better for it. You know, the teaching for today is a shortcut to manifesting your desires is to see what you want as absolute fact. Yep, you got to believe it, and it's got to be there, and you make it happen. That's exactly what happens. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is make public speaking less scary. Yeah. You know, public speaking is scary. It's a chance to mess up in front of other people, and the stress can trigger an evolutionary fight or flight reaction. You know, the adrenaline going. But there are ways to conquer your nerves. Before your next big presentation, here's what you do. You prepare thoroughly, research your topic, anticipate tough questions, and practice your delivery. And then imagine giving the presentation. How is it going to feel? How will you begin? What will the audience actually look like? You know, in this case, stay calm and loose. In most cases, people can't tell that you're nervous anyway, and if you stumble, act as though it didn't happen. They won't know. And get used to looking at blank faces. When you're talking to someone one-on-one, they give physical and verbal cues that they're listening. Groups of people don't always do that. That's why they always sometimes tell you, look at the clock in the back of the room. People don't know. Just keep your head turning. And then get comfortable with uncertainty. At a certain point, you have to trust that you've done all that you can to prepare. Now remember this, the likelihood that your worst fears will come true is really quite slim. Really is. Now, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We've got a good group of them here. It ought to take us to our next commercial break, or at least I hope it takes us to our next commercial break. And basically, you're going to enjoy what we have for you today. So let's get right to it and stop talking about it. Did you know that acorns were used as a coffee substitute during the American Civil War? I don't think that probably tasted too awful good. How about this? Did you know that in 1908, figure skating became the very first winter sport to be included in the Olympics? It's still there today. I think it's just beautiful to watch figure skaters. It's just unbelievable. And even the couples and the dancing, I think it's just absolutely magnificent. How about this? Did you know that astronauts become between 2 and 3 inches taller when they're in space? Yep. It's the lack of gravity. And their spine expands because the gravity's not pushing down on it. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Did you know that dreamt is the only English word that ends in the letters MT? Yep. You gotta question the viability of the people to come up with these interesting but useless facts. They got to get a life. Some of this stuff is just crazy. Here's one for you. A dragonfly has a lifespan of 24 hours. Now, you got to hope that 24 hours is up just before it stings you, right? Yeah, because it hurts. How about this? Do you know that it takes about a week to make a jelly bean? Wow. Ronald Reagan's favorite candy. Jelly Belly jelly beans. I actually met Ronald Reagan when he was governor of California. Went into his office with my wife, and the first thing he did was offer us a jelly bean, a Jelly Belly jelly bean. He put Jelly Belly on the map. Did you know that about 10% of Jewish households have Christmas trees? Yeah, go figure. They're not going to miss out. And 40% of McDonald's profits come from the sales of Happy Meals. Think about it. Not Big Macs, Happy Meals. Wow. Did you know that donkeys kill more people annually than plane crashes do? Well, there's one to think about. So, stay away from that donkey. Or you might become a jackass. You never know what's going to happen. How about this? Did you know that there are twice as many kangaroos in Australia as there are people? The kangaroo population is estimated at about 40 million. Now, that takes us back to Australia. Did you know that the country only has about 20 million people in it? There's a fact. Did you know that the Boeing 747 airliner holds 57,285 gallons of fuel and burns the majority of it on takeoff? Here's something interesting. Watermelons grown along the Tigris River have been known to reach as much as, get this, 275 pounds. Boy, you could throw one heck of a party with that size of a watermelon. Let me leave you with this. In 1977, George Willig was fined $1.10 for climbing the World Trade Center building. There we go. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. First one comes from Stephen Wortman from Gloucester Point, Virginia. He's asking about worthless securities. I'll be right back after these brief messages and tell you all about it. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire, and it's time for us to do the emails. And I want to caution you, like I always do, this is an entertainment section of the show, and I try to give you as comprehensive an answer to your emails as I possibly can. But you know what? Sometimes your emails are a little bit sketchy on information. So I've got to always suggest and encourage you to talk to a licensed professional before you do anything. They're going to interview you. They're going to gather all the necessary data to give you a good comprehensive answer. And the nice part about it is they're going to give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night, because one of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they give you the wrong answer and something happens, well, they got to pay the piper. So you don't have to worry about somebody tapping on your shoulder, sending you a registered letter, calling you on the phone, or knocking on your door. Sleep at night and sleep well, because that person that gave you that answer is going to have to pay if they gave you the wrong answer. So let's get right into it. First email today comes from Stephen Wortman from Gloucester Point, Virginia, asking about worthless securities, and says, I was tricked into buying $10,000 of stock in a company that proved to be a scam. Can I take this as a worthless securities capital loss that I can deduct against capital gains? Well, Stephen, the answer to your question is yes, but you may be better off by taking a theft loss deduction if this is considered a theft under your state law. Now, a theft deduction is allowed to the extent that your loss exceeds $100 and to the extent that this excess, when combined with all other theft and casualty losses, exceeds 10% of your adjusted gross income. So let me give you an example of it. Let's just say that the theft is your only loss and that your adjusted gross income is $40,000. Your deduction is going to be $5,900. That's that $10,000 minus that first $100 minus the $4,000, the 10%, right? And that's where you're going to get the $5,900. Now, in contrast, a capital loss offsets capital gains with no more than a $3,000 net deductible against ordinary income, and any excess carried forward into the future. So, you might be better off with that other loss. Next email comes from Manson Zafra from Sterling Heights, Michigan, and he's talking about a solo 401k plan in LLCs and writes, would the solo 401k retirement plan apply for a one-person limited liability company, which is an LLC? And the thing is, Mason, the solo 401k is simply a 401k plan with only one participant. Now, fairly recent tax law changes have made it available as a new option to business proprietors who previously had to use the KEO plans or other retirement savings vehicles. If a business that has a solo 401k plan hires additional employees, they must be covered by the plan in accordance with the 401k non-discrimination rules. Now, a one-person LLC typically is taxed by the IRS as a proprietorship, making it able to use a solo 401k like any other proprietorship. But 401k rules are complex, and LLC rules vary by state. So you need to be really, really careful there. Next email comes from James Lutenslager from San Jose, California, asking about savings bond interest and says, I know I can report interest earned on Series EE and Series I savings bonds annually instead of all at once when I redeem the bonds. How do I find out how much interest a savings bond earns each year? And how do I avoid being double taxed when I redeem the bonds, since I get a 1099 showing all the interest paid on them at that point? Well, here's the thing, James. To learn how much interest a bond pays annually, just go to the Treasury Direct website at www.treasurydirect.gov and use either the Savings Bond Calculator or the Savings Bond Wizard, or download Form 3501. That's the comparison of year-end Series IEE savings bond redemption values. Now, to avoid double taxation, that when you redeem the bond, simply report the year's interest on it under the annual method and add a note to your return explaining the difference between that and that 1099 amount. Now, for details, go see IRS Publication 550. That's investment income and expenses. And that ought to get this taken care of for you once and for all. And then finally, last email comes from Sunny Scarlett from Boulder, Colorado, asking about cash rewards and says, are cash rewards that I get from my credit card taxable to me? My credit card company gives me a percentage of my total charges each month in the form of a check. Well, Sonny, no. Cash rewards received for using a credit card are tax-free to the card owner who receives them. The IRS considers such cash rewards as a price discount and a promotional or volume discount off the price of a product or service is always going to be tax-free. So keep that in mind when you're going that route. You'll be glad that you did. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every single Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com.
On my next show, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer with his series, The American Grid. And my special guest, Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, is talking wireless technology news. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to be happy. And you know what, everybody? Have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.